All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something super fascinating. We're looking at how Ditto AI is literally bridging the gap between everyday, super clean Web 2 consumer apps and the absolute raw, decentralized horsepower of the Web 3 Bittensor network. It's kind of like two completely different worlds colliding, and the result is pretty awesome.
Seriously, just listen to how Peyton, the co-founder of Ditto AI, puts it. He calls the whole ecosystem a competition of competitions, and he hits the nail on the head there. Usually when you build a tech startup, you're grinding away in your own little silo. But on the Bittensor network, you're stepping into this crazy meta competition where 128 different teams are just grinding their butts off to optimize these incredibly specific AI problems to win network emissions. It's not just about securing a blockchain anymore. It is about directing massive amounts of computational energy toward actually solving real-world AI challenges. So, here's our game plan for today. 1. Why build on Bittensor? 2. From music to AI memory. 3. Inside the Ditto AI platform. 4. Subnet 118 and Ditto Core. And finally, 5. Future vision and tokenomics. Let's get into it.
Starting off with Section 1, why build on Bittensor? Escaping the traditional funding pipeline.
It's actually wild when you look at the stark contrast between traditional Silicon Valley VC funding and the totally open parallel pipeline you get in the decentralized world. Peyton actually refers to traditional funding as a one-money pipe. Think about it. You're totally reliant on these strict equity raises and seed rounds. You're completely beholden to that one single stream of capital. But Bittensor flips that entirely on its head. By launching a subnet, you're creating this open-ended design space. Suddenly, you've got these highly motivated, independent miners who are financially incentivized by the network to come in and solve your exact optimization problems. They're literally building alongside you in a way that just does not exist in the traditional venture capital world. It's a real game changer.
Moving on to Section 2, from music to AI memory, the founder journey.
Honestly, you can't really grasp the tech until you understand the humans behind it. Because this whole thing definitely didn't start out as a decentralized AI memory protocol. If we trace it back to 2020, the founders were just engineering students trying to build a hardware music synthesizer called Omniarara. But they quickly hit a wall. Music software has an incredibly steep learning curve. So they shelved that, but they kept this core idea of needing an AI assistant to help people navigate really complex interfaces. By 2022, they're messing around with smart home UI iterations. Really cool stuff, but again, way too complicated for the average person to just boot up and use. And that frustration, that is exactly what pushed them to pivot completely in early 2024. They decided to just strip away all the friction. They launched a super clean web app called Ditto AI, and by late 2024, they took that refined consumer product and plugged it directly into Bittensor's Subnet 118. Which brings us to Section 3, inside the Ditto AI platform, empathy-driven tech design. So their whole guiding philosophy here is barriers removed. The founders realized something deeply human. People usually turn to AI tools when they are stressed out, anxious, or just overwhelmed by life or work. So rather than throwing you into some sterile, highly technical dashboard that feels like a command line terminal, they intentionally went the opposite direction. They designed this incredibly relaxing paper aesthetic. They added these beautiful dusk-dark modes. The whole vibe is meant to feel like a private, calming personal journal. They designed it specifically to lower your blood pressure, not raise it. But don't let the relaxing interface fool you, because underneath it, they have completely evolved past your standard run-of-the-mill chat threads. They've turned this into a seriously robust agentic memory system. Instead of one giant messy chat, you have specific agents. Think about it. You could have one agent dedicated purely to remembering things for your job, and a totally separate Ditto agent just for stuff about your spouse. To make this work, they introduced workspaces, which are essentially markdown file systems directly attached to your agents. Your LLMs actually have the tools to index and search your past conversations like a high-powered database. And the best part? You have total control. If the AI makes something, you can manually edit it, or just download the whole shebang as a markdown or PDF file. It's your data, and you're never locked out of it. All right, Section 4, Subnet 118 and Ditto Core, the engine room. Okay, we absolutely have to pause on this analogy because it's brilliant. The whole system runs on what they call an agent harness, which is the Ditto Core codebase. Think of the large language model simply as the driver. On its own, an LLM is just a predictive text engine, right? But the harness is the actual car. It's the surrounding codebase that gives the driver the tools, the memory, and the agency to actually go somewhere. And the big plan here is to extract this Ditto core out of their closed source product so developers can run it locally. You bring the driver, your chosen LLM, and Ditto core provides the high-performance vehicle. So how does this actually function on the network? Well, it breaks down into two distinct roles that are just relentlessly pursuing efficiency. First up, you have the validators. Their job is to run something called Ditto Bench. Basically, every single day they generate these massive, incredibly long synthetic conversation histories. Then, they task the network with finding one highly specific fact buried deep inside that history. It's literally finding a needle in a digital haystack. Then, on the flip side, you have the miners. They are constantly competing to optimize the Ditto core harness to retrieve that exact needle. But here's the kicker. They aren't just graded on getting the right answer. They are heavily graded on token efficiency. Using fewer tokens means lower infrastructure costs. It's this whole decentralized network grinding away to make AI memory cheaper, faster, and better. But what happens when the AI driving the car inevitably makes a mistake? Because, they all hallucinate sometimes. Well, instead of crashing, the harness kicks off this fascinating self-healing loop. Let's say you're using a smaller, cheaper model to save money, and it accidentally messes up a link or hallucinates a file path. The Ditto core harness catches that instantly. It intercepts the error and shoots a detailed error code right back to the agent in real time. The agent essentially sees its own mistake and fixes it before the final output ever reaches you. It's just incredibly robust, fault-tolerant engineering. Bringing it all together with Section 5, Future Vision and Tokenomics, scaling to planet size.
Now, you might be wondering, how does a Web 2 consumer app actually create sustainable value for a Web 3 ecosystem? They've built this incredibly logical three-step tokenomics flywheel. Step 1. The Ditto Web 2 API and consumer product generate actual real-world revenue from users paying for credits. Step 2. That revenue goes directly to covering the core operational and infrastructure costs for LLMs. And Step 3. The magic step. Any remaining free cash flow generated by the business is used for token buybacks. It's a closed loop that takes tangible commercial value and pumps it right back into the decentralized ecosystem.
And the future they're aiming for, it goes way beyond just a simple chat interface. Their 12-month roadmap is literally aiming for planet scale. We're talking about transitioning to completely transparent pay-as-you-go API billing and integrating with decentralized Web3 marketplaces like X42. They are building persistent personal knowledge graphs, but honestly, the coolest part has to be these sliver apps. Imagine you've spent a year building up this massive knowledge graph of your life. You can tell Ditto, hey, just take the information about my dog, and it will instantly generate a completely standalone public web app. You could just send that dog app to your pet sitter, and they can chat with it to figure out feeding schedules, vet history, whatever, all powered securely by a tiny sliver of your data. Throw in their plans for enterprise integration to permanently destroy corporate information silos, and you're looking at a tech stack that is ready for massive global adoption.
Which really leaves us with a massive, and I mean massive, question. As Ditto AI builds out this infrastructure for planet-scale knowledge bases, just how vast will your own digital footprint become? And more importantly, who will ultimately hold the keys to your personalized memory? Because as we move away from just typing simple prompts to having a persistent agentic memory managing our lives, the underlying infrastructure matters more than ever. Ditto AI is betting big that a decentralized, constantly evolving network is the only way to scale this safely to the entire planet. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.